So the difficult part is how do you deal with the capital structure? So the question says debt to equity is 30 over 100. So debt is 30, equity is 100. That's the meaning of this. But remember, in your computation, what you need is for to value cost of debt, you want that plus that multiplied by the cost of debt. So this is what you need. So meaning that what we are supposed to do here is we're supposed to say 30 over 30 plus 100, or 30 over 130. So this is how the proportion of debt would look like. Equally for equity, it should be equity over your value of equity plus the value of debt, which again will be 100 over 100 plus 30, or 100 over 130. This is what you are seeing here. These are the proportions here. Some of you are saying, where are these proportions coming from? That's what we see here. 1 over 1.3, or which is your 100 over your 130. Here again, 0.3 over 1.3, which is what we are, 0.3 over 1.3, which is 30 over 130. So this is a proportion of debt. That's a portion of equity. So this is where these figures are coming from. One thing I like about this question is how to understand the capital structure. How to understand the capital structure. So this is one question where the capital structure was a bit tricky. If it's already given, if D over D plus E is given, then there's no problem. But if they give you, like what they gave here, you need to go through the correct interpretation, like we did here, we have done there, and we have done here. So that was the first point there. Also remembering that you need to remove your 1 minus t. I hope the work is okay, where the work came from. I hope you are okay with where the work comes from. Let's come to the next item. The next item was the tax. The tax. There was tax here. There was tax here. There's a tax provision here. The tax. The tax, we don't use the tax which is here. This tax here. We don't use the tax which is here, no. We use the tax paid. So remember,
If I may ask,
yes, please. Go ahead.
What's the reason why? What is the reason why we're not using the one from per statement, per profit and loss statement?
Good question. It's because in the profit and loss, what tax figure do you put there? You put provisions as well. Non-cash flows, they are included there. You make a provision for your tax. EVA uses cash flows. So that is the reason. So you ignore that one, you pick the one which is here, the 2.1 million. Have you picked that one, sir?
Yes, thanks.
Excellent. Well done. Next one. This tax that we paid at the inland revenue was low. Why? Because there was a relief. When we did the computation, there was a relief on interest. That one must be brought back. The finance charges or finance costs are here. Have you seen our finance cost? These ones here. That's finance cost there. Reduce your tax liability. So what do? We add it back. So we take 25% of that. You take 25% of that and we add it back. So our total tax now is not only this, but also that. So this is your total tax, which you remove from these two figures. To arrive at your NOPAT. So that's a tax. Secondly, we know that there's items to be added back and items to be subtracted. In your exam, they don't give you a long list of these items. No, the examiners have been very reasonable. They only give you a few items. For instance, like here, they only says number 8. It's estimated that half of the marketing spend, half of this figure, is building the Canter brand long term. So half of this, we are going to add it back. We're going to capitalize it. We're not ignoring it. No. We are capitalizing it, put in our balance sheet, then we are going to amortize it accordingly. It is being overly prudent for the accountants to write off everything. The portion which is of the future years, put in the future years. So that is the item there. So half of that we add it back. So here there's only one item really to add back, that one. Now remember we spoke at length about the opening figure, opening balance. The group capital employed was 53,400 at the start of the period. We said that's a figure that you must start with. In calculating your what? Your capital employed. In calculating capital employed, that's a figure you start with. So when the marker is marking, you want to make sure that you have started with this figure. Then you are saying, if there's anything that happened in the previous years, we need to adjust this figure. It is further estimated that there has been the same level of annual spending on long-term branding in the years leading up to 2014. So what we are saying is that, okay, that is okay. So what we're going to do is half of that figure should be added back. So we're saying that when you look at this figure, if we had correctly instituted our EVA, what would have happened is that we should have been capitalizing, so we should have capitalized that figure. And that is why that figure has been adjusted. So only one adjustment on that figure. So we have our capital employed figure. The question is silent about economic and accounting depreciation. The question is silent. So what assumption do you make? It's one and the same figure. So there's no adjustment needed. There's no adjustment that is needed. No adjustment is needed for that particular figure. Okay. EVA has become a common KPI on our paper. We have seen it so many times, isn't it? Calculation of EVA. But remember, an EVA computation only has 3 components. Are you happy with the work? Are we happy with the capital employed? Are we happy with the NOPAT? Now let's be realistic. In the exam, we may not get everything right, isn't it? Huh? In the exam, there is no need of stressing. You may not get everything right. Now let me share with you the concept of on-figure rule. On-figure rule. Your scripts are marked on the basis of on-figure rule. What does that mean? Like here, there's a number of possibilities, areas where on-figure rule would work. There's a number of areas. For instance, let us assume in your computation, you've made a mistake on NOPAT. So NOPAT figure is not right. You have maybe something like 13 million. That's a figure that you use. Okay. So of course, the mark which was allocated for NOPAT, you won't get it. But everywhere else now, you are right. You get everything right. So now when it comes here, NOPAT is wrong. And use your wrong NOPAT to take out the capital charge, and you get the answer here. How will the examiners mark this answer? Will they penalize you again here? The answer is no. Get that very right. Eh? Your NOPAT figure is wrong, so you have lost a mark here. So if there was 1 mark here, you won't get that mark. The 1 mark, you have lost it. Now you are not now on EVA. When it comes to EVA, your NOPAT is wrong. The capital charge is correct. How will the EVA be treated? The mark will be given. You are not penalized twice. The mark there will be given. And this is how we pass these papers. Eh? That's how we pass these papers. We can talk about it again. The capital charge. Your capital charge, your work is wrong. Your capital employed is right. So the mark which the examiner had given to the work, you're not going to get it. But your capital employed is correct. When you multiply now and you have a capital charge, we're not going to penalize you again. No. It's called what? On-figure rule. And that's how we pass these papers. The point is, in the exam, you may not get, very few get 4818. Very, very few do so. But what should the markers do? Find. The markers must find that you've got your work, which they can evaluate. You've got the capital employed, which they can evaluate. And you have your NOPAT, which you can evaluate. So your duty is to make sure that all these are there and the proper evaluation can be done. Let me see, there must be a question here. I did not manage to calculate the EVA. I also struggled to complete okay. All right, so I'm sure you have seen the pressure that the paper has, depending on how much work you're able to do. I'm sure you have seen the pressure. What can help you? Well, practice can help you. You practice and practice and practice. That's what can help you. Okay. I will try to do a draft of a solution, not examine a solution. I'll try to do a draft to see how you can quickly answer the question in the exam. Yeah. So what I'll do, I'll prepare a draft so that you can see how quickly can you get the marks. Okay, let's okay, fine, that's okay. So some people say share the solution. I'll share this solution, and I will also share the format of how can you quickly, because these solutions are quite very detailed. In the exam, you cannot produce these solutions. No. These solutions really are for teaching purposes or for studying purposes. But in the exam, this is too detailed. We can't produce this. All right, I've seen that request there. Thank you. It will be done. Okay, so as I've said, put transfer pricing on the side. Let's make a bit of progress. I've seen a few questions which I'll address at the end of this session. I've seen those questions which I'll address. Let's make a bit of progress. Let me support you a little bit, then we can come back to those questions. So let's make these separate.